Over a year and a half ago, Vito began his crusade to achieve a lifelong dream.
I'm going to open a British restaurant in Italy.
Travelling the length and breadth of 2 countries, he's hunted for the best produce in Britain.
Very creamy. It just, you know, it like clings to your mouth.
And scoured Italy to find the right place to serve it.
This is the place. This is my home.
He enlisted the help of his fiancée, Margherita.
Definitely has great potential.
His family.
Ciao, bella.
And an army of Italians to try out his produce.
It's really good. I like it.
Buono.
After all of this, he found his dream restaurant in Bologna. His hopes have been raised.
You got it! No, you've got it! Excellent!
And then dashed.
I mean, this is just a disaster.
But Vito has kept on battling.
I've worked too hard, too long to get where I am, and I'm not prepared to give it away.
Now his moment of reckoning has finally arrived. His grand opening night.
It's got to be delivered. It's got to be absolutely spot on.
It's opening night, a night Vito has been looking forward to for 18 long months. He's invited 60 esteemed guests to the opening, from Bolognese businessmen to newspaper critics, even some British food producers who he's found on his travels.
Miss Sabina? Oh, OK.
Tonight, they'll be the first to eat in Vito's British restaurant.
Well, this is it. This is what we've all been waiting for. This is the evening that, hopefully, a lot of people in Bologna now will start to realise what we're all about. This is the one.
With the kitchen inaccessible until last night, the chefs have only just started the mammoth task of learning how to cook the British menu. Vito's 5 chefs have just 8 hours to train before service. But Vito has an ace up his sleeve. Top chef Simon.
Just sealing the meat off to stop it from shrinking.
Simon is the head chef in one of Vito's UK restaurants and has the formidable task of training up the Italian staff on cooking on the opening night.
Once I can show them how everything's done, I can stand back and hopefully let them have a go and see how they're doing it.
I've got my head executive chef. He understands, you know, the way that traditional British food should be produced.
For tonight's menu, Simon is teaching his 5 new Italian staff to prepare an array of British dishes. His starters include ploughman's lunch, smoked salmon and prawn cocktail. For main courses, they'll tackle bangers and mash, British fillet steak, lamb shank and fish and chips. And for dessert, there's bread and butter pudding and lemon cheesecake.
This is the menu. I'm just going to run through the menu with the staff. We'll start with, I don't know, lamb shanks are going to take the longest to cook, so I'm going to have to get them in cracking and get them on to start with.
But Simon's sparkling kitchen has some unwelcome visitors. The builders are back to test the extraction and are breaking every hygiene rule in the book.
No, not fumé. No. Not in the restaurant. The restaurant, they no smoke.
So Simon's hit on a bigger problem. He doesn't speak Italian.
Communicated sign language. I picked a little bit of the language up. Salada and lemon. Yeah? I've got through to them, I hope.
Many of them have never seen the likes of cheddar cheese, Scottish smoked salmon, or horseradish and chutneys.
The sauce will thicken up, so once this reduced a little bit, concentrate the flavour, and then we can blend it.
And Simon is teaching them the art of cooking British beef and quality pork bangers.
Any crock?
Any fish? See, yeah.
Mashing potatoes.
Just going to put a touch of milk in just to, so it's not quite as thick. Latte, little bit, now.
And making bread and butter pudding.
Eggs. I need 1 litre of milk, yeah, latte. 8 octo. We've got baguettes here at the moment, but hopefully we've got some bread coming. I just needed it here to show them what was going on.
But Vito's menu wouldn't be complete without one dish the Italian public think is more British than the bulldog.
The first thing, have in mind is fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Fish.
Chips.
Fish and chips. Fish and chip.
Chips and fish.
Have you ever cooked fish chips before or anything similar? No.
The Italians are used to grilling and even salting their fish, so how will they feel about deep frying it and serving it with chips?
Butter. The fish to cook 4 or 5 minutes. 4 to 5. See?
It gets the thumbs up from Simon, and Margherita's on hand for a second opinion.
Fish is nice, don't you? Fish is good. Hopefully the locals will like it.
Vito's travelling Britain on a mission to discover the best British produce. So far, he's found everything from quality pork bangers to award-winning chutneys. He's on a hunt for a product that will top off his British menu with style: single malt Scottish whisky. Over 100 distilleries are licensed to produce Scotch whisky in the UK, and together they export a whopping 90 million cases to over 200 countries every year.
The Italians love whiskey. It's a sexy drink for them, especially the young guys, you know, when they're taking out the girlfriends. Scotch whisky over ice, very James Bond.
And this is the man who will make Vito's James Bond dream a reality. The man with the golden dram is Glengoyne Distillery's top nose, Stuart Hendry.
What a beautiful setting.
Whisky only takes 3 ingredients, the largest one of which is water. There's a great source of water in this area, plenty of rainfall in Scotland. It collects in the little ponds, and we use this to make the whisky.
I want to go and see what it's all about.
Vito, follow me.
Let's go. Oh.
OK, Vito, this is the first start of the real process of whisky making. This is mashing. And in here we combine the water that comes down the waterfall with this, which is what we believe is the world's finest malted barley. This is
unbelievable.
There's no artificial colours, no artificial flavours. Whisky's only made from malted barley, water and yeast. Although some people find it a little bit strange, I quite like the flavour at this point.
You're not going to taste it. That looks absolutely...
heavenly. Exactly what it is.
Don't you suggest I try some, because it's really not my style.
There's plenty of opportunities. Plenty of opportunities.
You OK?
I'm fine.
You sure?
There's plenty of opportunities for sampling later.
And the gloopy mash is pumped into huge barrels. Yeast is added, it ferments, and you end up with beer.
And this is the beer.
But it's not drinkable, is it, at this stage?
If you leave it and then filter away the dead yeast, it's a terrific little pint of beer.
Beautiful.
But at this stage, no.
Then the beer is sent off to be distilled.
Hey, Vito, this is where the magic really begins. We've got 3 copper swan-necked stills. What we can see, Vito, now in our first still, our wash still, is the wash starting to bubble and boil up. And it's at this exact point, as these bubbles burst, that the alcohol vapour is going to rise up to the top of the still and leave all the water and the yeast behind and run across the line arm at the top, be chilled at the cooling tower in the back, and that's the first stage of the spirit. Just as these very bubbles are bursting, the spirit's being created.
After your second distillation, you catch the first glimpse of the clear spirit that will become whisky. Once it's been barrelled, it ages in the warehouse from anywhere between 10 and 40 years. But not all that whisky stays in the barrel.
With this one being nearly 20 years old, something like about 40% of that will just be air now. And all of that whisky will have evaporated out through the oak, up through the roof and out into the atmosphere, and we call that the angel's share. And you only see them at night after you've had a few wee drams. It's the only time they come out, so.
And it's this evaporation, along with taxes and storage costs, that makes single malt whiskies a luxury product. These barrels are Spanish and American oak casks that were used to produce sherry before being shipped to Scotland. The sherry in the wood is transferred to the whisky to give it its unique taste and colour.
Draw this lovely spirit out, and we're going to put it in this glass here. And this is a
great example of what sherry and oak combined can do to a colour over all those years of sleeping in the cask. I mean, even by looking at it, I'm excited at drinking this.
Me too.
A lovely drop.
Let's go, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it.
At last the time has come for Vito to taste the spirit of Scotland.
This is our 10-year-old. It's quite light, it's quite fresh. I could and indeed do drink this before dinner. There's a little bit of spiciness to it.
For me, I can see it as even a lunchtime drink.
Next we have a 17-year-old. This has clearly spent an extra 7 years in the cask, so it should be more intense than the 10-year-old.
Okay.
It should have more of a kind of depth to it, if you like.
It is so mellow, it's just a beautiful drink. Absolutely beautiful drink. I can see my Italian customers enjoying this.
If you'd like to find out more about the food Vito's been tracking down, log on to channel4.com/food. In Bologna, the opening night is fast approaching. The teaching is over, so Vito has brought his Italian chef some Dutch courage all the way from Scotland.
So, raise your glasses. Salute!
Salute.
To a fantastic opening.
Thank you.
Salute.
Vito's team are a bit wet behind the ears, but this is the stuff to put hairs on their chest.
What do you think?
È buonissimo.
È buonissimo, Lino.
The sun is setting over Bologna, and the city's revered restaurants are opening for evening business. Tonight, Vito is the new kid on the block. But how will his British dream restaurant fare against the big boys of Bologna? Will Vito's kitchen cope with the new menu?
I'm waiting for my food. Where's my food?
Will Vito even turn up to meet his esteemed guests?
Vito's supposed to be here, but he's usually on time.
And will Vito keep his head on the biggest night of his life?
Those bloody idiots!
Everything Vito has worked for over the last 18 months has led to this moment, the grand opening. On his quest to open a British restaurant, he's talked a great game.
You think of Italy as the creme de la creme, but when they start seeing what I'm going to bring here, these guys are going to wake up. The Italians are not going to be able to keep away.
Absolutely not. Let's hope not, anyway.
We're making history. You've got to feel positive, buddy. And that's what you do. You put your heart and soul into it. When they eat off of this quality porcelain, they're going to go, Mamma mia! It's the curtain up. It's showtime.
But now the time for talking is over. Vito must make his dream restaurant a reality. Restaurants often have a soft opening to test out their new kitchen and waiting staff. But tonight, Vito's jumped in head first. He's packed out the main dining room with 60 VIP guests. The Italian press, local businessmen, and some of those Vito has met along the way, like Scottish smoked salmon producers Ruby and Vincent Marr.
This looks fabulous. We've been looking forward to this so long, you know.
But Vito's UK restaurant manager Amador is just pleased they're open at all.
I had my doubts when I first came, to be honest, on Monday, and here we are. 7 o'clock Friday night and we did open.
And Vito's restaurant architect Luca can breathe a huge sigh of relief.
We were looking forward to this moment, and actually in the last days it was a little bit difficult to say everything would be all right, but actually everything looks good.
Down in the kitchen, you can cut the tension with a knife. Head chef Simon is preparing for the cooking frenzy.
When service goes off, I'm normally quite calm, but if it starts to go wrong, then I might start shouting a little bit, but if they don't bring the tickets in too quick, it'll be not a problem. But if everything comes down at the same time, we'll just do it as best as what we can and get it out to the customers.
Tonight, Vito's VIP guests have all dutifully arrived at the same time, putting huge pressure on the staff, who've only had 12 hours in this kitchen.
The Italian team, they're picking it up quite quickly, actually. But they've got to pick it all up. They've got to know everything, so we'll see what happens.
And with the guests seated, the first British orders in Italy are taken. For starters, it's a ploughman's lunch and a prawn cocktail, followed by fish and chips twice.
Right, guys, first check of the night. Right, I've got upstairs a table of 10. I've got 3 2s and 1 4, okay? So I'll be bringing more checks very soon.
And before long, the orders are coming in thick and fast.
23? I've got 2 table 23.
The kitchen is struggling to cope, and upstairs, the customers are getting restless.
I don't know if there's any food out yet. That's the crucial bit when the first plate comes out.
I'm waiting for my food. That's the reason why you need to talk to Amador now. Where's my food?
That was...
No, it's just 2 hours. No, sorry, it's just 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
As the first plates begin to trickle out of the kitchen, there's a notable absence in the restaurant. One very loud and important voice is missing.
Vito's supposed to be here, but he's probably getting changed or something. He's usually on time, but he's been working so hard today.
There's one missing ingredient, actually, and I don't know where to find him.
He would like to make a big entrance.
Yes, I guess so. It's like gonna be with
If he would have been on time, you know, then he wouldn't feel important. You know, like important people that make you wait, so...
No, yeah.
After 18 months of dreaming about his opening night, has Vito lost his nerve at the last moment? Without Vito, this ship is sailing without a rudder. The Italian staff are stunned by the barrage of tickets.
Fish and chips, that's it. Yeah? Top up.
Just as the ship seems to be sinking, Vito slips in unnoticed, observes the mayhem, and the Capitano decides to crack the whip.
What am I looking at? I'm looking at Simon doing everything. Look, the problem is this. I've not had a chance to train these people. They're human beings. They're doing their best. But unfortunately, they're under pressure. Those bloody idiots. Perché io non conosce che Simon non parla italiano. Allora io voglio sentire, yes chef, 3 prawn cocktails, yes chef, okay, yes chef.
Vito can't afford to fail. Nearly £700,000 and a massive emotional investment rides on the outcome of his opening night.
What worries me is the customers. You know, when you've got a passion for delivering the best, you need to do that, and you need to do it in such a way that it is second to none. It's got to be delivered. It's got to be absolutely spot on.
Vito's outburst has the right effect. The orders start flying up the stairs, and his great British menu comes to life. Most of the diners are starting with smoked salmon.
Ti piace?
Tutto buonissimo, Vito, complimenti.
But the ploughman's lunch and prawn cocktails fare well too. As orders come in for the main courses, fish and chips and fillet steaks top the bill.
Salute.
Filetto di manzo con patate. Ottimo. Very good.
I had a soup with carrots and coriander and sausage. For Italian taste, it's a little bit heavy. That's what I would say.
Veramente una bella idea, però sia un'offerta nuova, sia incoraggiante anche per affrontare culture.
Con I miei amici verrei volentieri a mangiare cibo britannico.
And Vito's UK food producers are bowled over.
The starter was amazing. We had smoked salmon, it was fantastic.
It's been first class. First time here and we've absolutely enjoyed it. Superb.
And the all-important journalists are impressed too.
I'm going back to my newspaper to say that it was very good this evening and this lunch.
I think the customers have thoroughly enjoyed it. The comments have been extremely positive. It's a triumph.
Spirits are high, and Vito and his restaurant manager, Sabina, step forward to take a bow.
Ladies and gentlemen, my very good friends, this has been a journey for me for 2 years, and it's a pleasure for me to come to Bologna and to open a business in Bologna. The journey has been very difficult. We have been to Modena. I mean, you might as well have a tea shop. We have been to Florence. One day, I'm going to open this door to the first customers, and they're going to come through here, and they're going to enjoy British hospitality with an Italian flair at its best. We have been to Benevento. Io nato Benevento. Buongiorno la mondo! Imagine Henry VIII dining at court. But Bologna, for me, is my second home.
And in the heady Italian summer night, Vito's passion bubbles over.
And I would like to say, Miss Margherita, will you please marry me?
Vito knows they're already engaged, but tonight he can't help but add the icing on the cake to his perfect night.
We already did this in England, didn't we?
Will you please marry me?
Second time.
Will you please marry me?
Okay, then.
And down in the kitchen, the passion is boiling over too.
Everything was amazing. Means the food was amazing. The presentation, the taste. All the people say to me, amazing food, amazing looking. Everything was fantastic. I know everything was perfect because Simon was here. Simon did a really fantastic job.
Once in a lifetime experience controlling the kitchen on a group of 5 who don't speak English. But we've managed to get through it.
With just 12 hours training, these 5 young chefs can be more than proud of their achievements. Upstairs, Vito is inundated with well-wishers.
This is the nicest guy you'll ever meet in the world.
Great job.
Really?
I'll see you tomorrow. You're going to be here?
I'll be here, buddy.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Cheers, buddy.
Have a nice
Ciao,
day.
bella.
Il discorso è che la cucina inglese si avvicina moltissimo alla nostra cucina. Io dico una cosa, quello un altro, capisci? Si passa la voce.
As the Bologna night begins to come alive, the blood, sweat and tears of the last year and a half all seem worthwhile.
Yeah, I feel positive because, you know, British produce is so strong, it's so good, it's so inviting, and more important, people love it, you know? You've got the Italian palate, you've got the English palate. They just gel together. And on that note, I'm just going to continue enjoying myself this evening because it's a really fantastic high, and say buonanotte. Bravo, grazie. Yes!
For a selection of great British recipes from Vito's restaurant, go to channel4.com/food. And the lack of food is the overwhelming problem for our adventurer after a month alone in the wild. That's next, here on 4.